welcome back to the channel. It is here. It is Oscar Sunday. The ceremony starts in a couple minutes here. I'm super excited. As far as my predictions that I had, I stuck with everything. I didn't make any last-second switches, which means it probably is going to be No Other Land, and I'm still here in documentary and international because I didn't make the switch. If I would have switched, it would have gone the other way, but everything else I kind of stuck the same. I don't feel great about everything. Like, again, this is a year where everything is so chaotic that I'm fully expecting some insanity tonight. And honestly, as much as I would like to get my predictions right, I think I root for that every year anyway. I root for the craziness. I root for something insane to happen, and that is more fun, especially for a reaction video. If I'm just 23, I guess if I go 23 for 23, you'll get a good reaction. But for the most part, I'm rooting for some craziness. I'm rooting for something fun to happen in these categories. But yeah, I'm just excited to get to these winners. Looks like we're starting with Best Supporting Actor. And it's Kieran Culkin. That was really quick there, Robert Downey Jr. announcing that. I mean, this was no surprise, right? We knew it was going to be Kieran Culkin the entire way. You win every single precursor. You have no drama aside from some people not liking you. It was just inevitable. Obviously, it was going to be Kieran Culkin the whole way. Happy for him. Excited to listen to the speech. All right, next up is Best Animated Feature, and this is one of the categories that I am still so uncertain about. I predicted The Wild Robot. It could easily be Flow. I'm sticking. I mean, obviously, I've submitted all my picks. I'm sticking with them, so I'm sticking with Wild Robot. It's what I'm rooting for in the category as well. But let's see what happens. And it was Flow. Okay. I think this is. I talked about in my predictions video that the acting categories I'm historically awful in. I'm pretty bad at animated too. I get it wrong all the time. If I try and go with the more popular pick, like The Wild Robot this year or Spider-Verse last year, I get it wrong. When I try and go out on a limb, if I go the year Toy Story 4 won, I went with Klaus that year. It just seems like I always get. I'm so bad at animated. This is just one of those categories I absolutely struggle with. Flow winning is crazy, and I think is going to change the way, if there isn't a consensus Disney frontrunner kind of moving forward, if it's not like a Pixar thing, because I mean, obviously Inside Out 2 was never really in the race this year, so it's unless there's a consensus Disney winner, I think I'm always just gonna, moving forward, just gonna kind of pick the more artsy, kind of the either potentially lean foreign if that's an option, but just kind of pick the one that isn't necessarily the most geared to kids, I guess. I mean, not the Flow isn't, but I mean, I feel like The Wild Robot typically just feels like it would fit that mold, and clearly just didn't happen this year. We're jumping immediately into animated short film, which is one of the categories because I never feel confident in the short, so I'm sure I'm about to get this wrong and immediately fall to 1 and 3 on my predictions. In this category, I definitely was rooting for In the Shadow of the Cypress. I don't think that really has a chance. I predicted Wander to Wonder, but Yuck I think is the alternative. But I mean, I don't know if what we just saw, maybe they're not necessarily leaning the kid film, but let's see. And the Oscar goes to In the Shadow of the Cypress. In the Shadow of the Cypress just won. Okay, I am so glad. I said this at the beginning of this video. I at this point, I am complete. I want to go over the rest of my picks. I want this to just continue being as crazy as this. In the Shadow of the Cypress was my favorite of the of those nominees. So that's super exciting. I'm really glad that it was able to pull that. Oh my! You can't necessarily be too shocked, I would say, about the shorts categories, but I felt like Wander to Wonder was maybe the one that felt a little more safe, solely because it was getting some precursors, it was getting some wins along the way. So I think we felt comfortable with Wander to Wonder more so than you should feel most years in the shorts categories. But that's just another thing to have to remember next year. Nothing matters for shorts. Just, I guess, go with your gut. Maybe go with what you feel the best about, because yeah, where did I have In the Shadow of the Cypress? I think I had it third in my odds, if I remember right, or in my what I thought was going to happen. So it's not like I had it in dead last, but I really did not think it had much of a chance at winning this at all. That's really exciting. And then it looks like we're moving on to Best Costume Design. This is one where I feel pretty comfortable in it being Wicked. But I do just want to say before we even really get into the awards, I do love this presentation that they're doing right here. This is one of those that every year everyone is always asking for the acting clips, which, first off, we didn't get the acting clip earlier for the supporting actor category. But one thing that I've always wished the Oscars would do is, as fun as it is to kind of have a host that's making jokes and doing things, I really wish they would, like, in each individual category, have, like, time where we're sitting and where we're discussing, what the specific thing of the crafts is or what makes these nominations so important. And so I do love this little thing here where we're getting some of the stars of the film talking directly to the costume designers. It's just kind of a really cool touch. But yeah, let's see who wins. All right. And it is Wicked, Paul Tazwell. Okay, back to Earth, getting to the comfortable some of the categories that are hopefully going to go the way that that I think they're going to go. Wicked, it was, again, it seemed like it was kind of always, I mean, just when you're kind of looking at all of, not to take anything away from all the other nominees, they're obviously all well deserving. Wicked really does just kind of stand out there for the impact that the costumes really had in the film, especially because it tells such an important story. Like our main characters, they're always in very impressive costumes. So I think it was the most impressive for the main characters and for so many just background characters and dancers and everyone at the school. Like, it was just such impressive costume design all the way through. So this is a great winner for Wicked, and we'll see if this is kind of the beginning of if it is. I think I just predicted two Oscars for Wicked, so we'll see if it just gets those two, or we'll see if this is the beginning of it kind of steamrolling and picking up some extra wins along the way. Looks like we're moving on to the screenplay categories, and we're starting off with original screenplay. Here comes the first of the four 50-50 categories with Anora. I'm feeling somewhat comfortable about Anora, I think, at this point, but also it could be a real pain. I'm so close between those two. I'm gonna stick with Anora, and if it doesn't win, we're about to have maybe an uncomfortable conversation about how the rest of this night might go. All right, and it goes to Anora. Okay, I can take like a little bit of like a breath of relief, like for my predictions, because so again, there's the first win for Anora. This is the one where I'm like, if it didn't win this, I would start to really question it winning Best Picture. Really, I think if Anora loses, I mean, again, all of the categories, it's 50-50. As soon as it loses one, we then have to, I guess, maybe not Mikey Madison. That's one that I don't think picture necessarily hinges on that, but actually, I guess no. The more I think of it, this maybe is the only one that really would have like swayed me, I think, on Anora. Because if it loses director to Corbet, I could easily see a split there. I'm predicting it to lose editing, so that doesn't change. I'm predicting Mikey to lose to Demi, so that doesn't change anything. So yeah, I mean, this is the one that I needed Anora to win to still feel good going into. I guess if it loses both Mikey and Sean for director, then maybe that's an issue. But yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with just Anora kind of steamrolling the rest of the way, or at least to that Best Picture win. And then next up is adapted screenplay. Again, I think this is one of the biggest locks of the night. This is going to be Conclave. If Conclave loses here, then it's officially dead for picture, and we already know Anora is winning. So I don't think anything else. I just like looking over these. Nickel Boys is the only other one that maybe has a chance at upsetting here, but this is going to be Conclave. The Oscar goes to. All right, and it goes to Conclave. Okay, so there we go. I mean, this is what we needed, and it's pretty cool that they did this early enough in the night. Like, those were the two we needed, Anora and Conclave, to get both their screenplays in order for us to still have any kind of hope of, if you're rooting for some kind of intense showdown for Best Picture at the end, you needed both of those to come through, and they both did. I'm just really happy for Conclave. Again, it's my favorite, I guess besides The Substance, it was my second favorite Best Picture nominee of the year, so would have been my favorite in that category. But I really do love both Nickel Boys and Sing Sing had phenomenal screenplays as well, but just really excited to see Conclave get as many as it can get. Alright, and then moving on to makeup and hairstyling. Also want to point out that was a hilarious joke from June Squibb. I loved that Bill Skarsgård joke there. But moving on to the nominees here. This is the substance category. This is the remaining after Kieran Culkin has already won. This is the category I'll be the most shocked if anything besides the substance wins. And they're showing it on screen now. I cannot believe that they are showing the beginning of, I guess it's not quite Monstero Illysisu, but the beginning of Demi Moore's kind of transformation there. I can't believe they showed that. But here we go. Let's see what wins.
And the Oscar goes to the substance.
The substance. Okay, yeah, I mean, we're getting in a roll here. We had a couple up in the air categories. Or I guess both the animated film and feature for me, but everything else has gone according to plan. This was the obvious winner in the category. There wasn't really no clue what second place would have been, so obviously, and this does make me kind of think that Demi could come along, which I don't know if you've seen, they have posted like the listing or like the order online. They do have actress second to last, so that makes me think that there could be something kind of crazy happening in actress if they're moving it all the way to the bottom. But we'll see if this means that Demi can come along with this makeup win. And then the next category is Best Editing. I feel pretty comfortable that this is going to be Conclave, but I guess we'll see if there's an upset. If it's Anora, we know for sure what's happening the rest of the night with Anora, but I still feel pretty comfortable in the pick of Conclave.
And the Oscar goes to
And it's
Anora.
Anora. Anora just upset Conclave in editing. I think that means we're about to have four-time Oscar winner Sean Baker. Um, because at this point, I don't. You give him screenplay and you give him editing. I don't see how you also don't give him director, unless that is the way you justify it. Give Corbet editor or give Corbet director, and then Baker his other two Oscars. But I just think at this point, you're showing that this is just a love for Anora moving forward. That is crazy that Anora just pulled it off. Another thing I'm now realizing in my category breakdown series, I predicted Flo and I predicted Anora in those individual episodes, and then I switched them for my final predictions. So maybe I'm better at kind of predicting the Oscars early in the season, and then as more things happen, I let too much kind of change what I believed early, because I believed in Anora solely because I love the comedic style of the editing. I love the Greatest Day montage, that entire scene, that whole spot is just so beautiful, and it's beautifully edited. So this is a great win, and I think this means Sean Baker is about to win 4 Oscars tonight. That's crazy. Then it looks like we're following editing up, going straight to supporting actress. This is going to be Zoe Saldana. I think we all just kind of assumed Ariana Grande was the runner-up in the category, but the fact that she couldn't win at SAG and she didn't win anywhere else, I just don't know if she ever submitted herself or cemented herself as that number 2 in the category. So without there being any real alternative, like, you just can't go against Zoe Saldana, who's won everything, so she's about to win here.
Goes to
And it goes to
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. Yep. So I mean, it's just it's one of the. I mean, we knew it coming along. This is so far this Oscar ceremony has what it's been showing and what's been happening is that all the categories that were locks, they've been locked and they've been true, and it seems like all the categories that were 50-50, it seems like we're getting some crazy upsets. I mean, even editing, we're getting crazy upsets and things that aren't that didn't seem like, it felt like that was pretty close to a lock. But yeah, so Zoe Saldana wins here. This is the first of how many Oscars for Emilia Perez? I think it's gonna get song, so I think it's got 2. And just by the way that this has been going so far, I I stuck with Emilia Perez as my prediction in international, but I'm starting to lean. I think I'm still here. Just the way that this ceremony has been going, some of the upsets and a lot of the craziness, that's where I'm leaning right now. Is I think this is maybe just one of 2 Oscars on the night for Emilia Perez, but guess we'll see. All right, and then next up we've got Best Production Design. We'll see if this is the second award that Wicked wins on the night, or maybe if this is where The Brutalist kind of finally joins the party. Let's see what's about to win here.
And the Oscar goes to
And it's
Wicked.
Wicked. Okay, so there's the second win on the night there for Wicked. So yeah, I mean, so far it's really just kind of the animated was kind of a toss up, right? Animated, we were debating between Flow or the Wild Robot. Animated short, that was crazy, and then I think we had a pretty big upset there, Anora over Conclave and editing. That's another kind of big upset, but so far everything else kind of seems like it's all going to plan. This is the second win for Wicked. This is, again, I predicted these are the 2 categories that it got: costume design and production design. We'll see if Wicked kind of has any sort of momentum still going forward, or if this is it for it. basically, like I was just saying with the Brutalist, seeing if it could get on the board here. The Brutalist, because I was predicting that for 3 awards, maybe potentially 4. I can't remember. I think it was 3. Maybe it was just 2, but I mean, it's got a couple that they haven't come up yet, so we're about to see if some of those wins start coming along here. So far, I mean, just kind of a recap. Now we just have Anora and Wicked. Those are the 2 films with 2 Oscars so far. So far, we've also done a pretty good job of kind of spreading the love throughout this Oscar ceremony night. So far so good. This has been a fun night. And next up is Best Original Song. This, to me, I'm pretty comfortable with this still being El Mal. Think we're going to get the back-to-back Zoe Saldana wins, essentially. I guess there's one kind of category in between them. I feel pretty comfortable. Elton John and Diane Warren, they pose a threat, but I feel fairly comfortable in it just being El Mal. Right? And it's El Mal from Emilia Perez. Yep, that seemed inevitable. I will say there was a second during that very extended, instead of I guess performing these songs at the Oscars this year, they decided to just really stretch out showing all of those. There was a moment right there at the end where I kind of was feeling like, Elton John might pull that out. It seemed like he got a pretty loud response, but again, El Mal was the one. It had been sweeping all year. It is anything Zoe Saldana related with Emilia Perez. Again, was not only I've said it multiple times in all my videos that it's been immune to the controversy from everything else going on with Emilia Perez. I don't even think that's the best way to describe it. It's not like it was immune from controversy. It was loved. People clearly loved it within the Academy. They loved everything relating to Zoe Saldana. So it totally makes sense that it won here. I know a lot of people, I think just because they hate so much about Emilia Perez, they kind of hated the song. I thought it was a good song. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. So I'm okay with this win. And then we've got the documentary categories coming up next. It looks like we're starting with the short documentary. I went with The Only Girl in the Orchestra. I'm starting to think it might be I'm Ready, Warden, but let's see. Okay, so it did go to The Only Girl in the Orchestra. So the reason I just said that I was kind of all of a sudden leaning towards I'm Ready, Warden is solely because I got the other short category wrong, and so I just wasn't expecting, any of the short categories to go my way the rest of the night. But The Only Girl in the Orchestra was of the 5 there. It was one of the 2 kind of pleasant, happy ones. So totally makes sense. It's a good winner. And then going quickly into documentary feature, I really, really hope this is No Other Land. Should 100% be the winner in the category. I just couldn't pull the trigger on predicting it. I'm totally rooting for it. 100% was the best documentary here in this group. But let's see. I went with Porcelain War, even though it is the one film I didn't get to see because it does not have distribution here. So, kind of was just going out on a limb predicting it. But let's see. Again, I'm pulling for No Other Land, and it is No Other Land. Did it? Let's go. Excellent. That should 100% win. I should have gone with my gut. Yeah, it was clearly the most important, the best documentary, and I just didn't think that the Academy was going to go for it. I didn't think they were going to award it. I'm so glad. Excellent win for No Other Land. Just a beautiful moment. I'm really excited to hear this speech. And the next up, we've got Best Sound, and it seems like this is probably now where we're gonna get Dune kind of entering in the party here a little bit with sound and visual effects coming up. So let's see if this is the first award on the night for Dune Part 2, or if there's another upset brewing.
And the Oscar goes to
Dune Part 2. So there we go. So I don't know when visual effects is coming up, but I expect that to be its second win of the night because that's the one I was more sure of. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of got my cheat sheet that I'm looking over here, but let's just see. So we've got Anora, we've got Wicked, Conclave, Substance, Emilia Perez, and now Doom Part 2. 6 of the 10 Best Picture films have gotten an award so far. Obviously, The Brutalist has got some coming. I'm Still Here. It's going to be close. Nickel Boys, unfortunately, I don't think is going to get anything. And then which one am I forgetting? A Complete Unknown. I mean, it's either A Complete Unknown or The Brutalist are going to get actors. So it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of kind of spreading around the wealth here so far at the Oscars, and they've kind of organized these in a way where nothing is like running away. It's not like I think it was Everything Everywhere All at Once was like up to 4 or 5 Oscars before like anything else had won two that night. To be fair, that night it was Everything Everywhere All at Once and All Quiet on the Western Front were the only two that really won multiple awards. But so far it's been pretty even, pretty spread out. Nice to see Dune Part Two getting in on the party here. I guess ask and you shall receive. Visual effects is the very next category. So again, I expect this to be back-to-back wins here for Dune Part Two. Better Man or Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes would be great winners here in this category. Obviously, Wicked I think is kind of in it a little bit as well, just because it's got because it's got that Best Picture nomination. But again, I think this is Dune Part Two back to back.
The Oscar goes to Dune
Dune Part Two. Totally makes sense. Yeah, so that's nice of them to, I guess, give the two Dune Part Two categories back to back. So that now I just read off the list that has all of the Best Picture films that have have gotten a single win. Now Dune Part Two now joins its Dune Part Two, Wicked, Anora, and Emilia Perez. Those are the four now. Those four Best Picture winners. They all have two apiece. So again, the Oscars. I feel like they've kind of lined these categories up in a way this year where it's everything is kind of moving up together all at the same time to maybe try and create some suspense as to what's coming the rest of the night. But after that editing win, I think I'm still pretty comfortable seeing where it's going to be. Where it's going to be Nora the rest of the way, but I am just excited to see. I think we've got a couple more upsets maybe coming along the way. Best live action short film, I think it's going to be Alien. I'm not a robot. Sorry, I did not have that queued up very, very well. That one went really quick because I thought they were doing something else. I'm not a robot. Just one. That was pretty comfortably, I think, my 5th place. The one thing I will say, I didn't really take it into consideration this year. Um, in live action films, usually I think oftentimes they'll go to whichever one they think could best be kind of translated to a feature length film. So I guess I'm Not a Robot fits that partially because we did just get it with Companion. It just came out a couple weeks ago. It's not exact one for one, but it's pretty close to like the same film. So that's kind of weird that I don't know. I just was not expecting I'm Not a Robot at all. It's a fun film, but I just felt like especially I thought that they were going to go with Alien, the one that was maybe a little bit more pertinent and a little more of an important message, especially as they just went with No Other Land. It seemed like that was something that they would do, is go for one that was maybe a little bit more important as opposed to a little more fun. But like I just said, I knew we were getting some crazy upsets that were coming, and that's a shock. I did not expect I'm Not a Robot. And looks like we've got cinematography, so I expect the Brutalist to jump in here and get some wins. And yep, the Brutalist again. I didn't have that queued up very well, but the Brutalist gets its first win. I was kind of looking at it and I was thinking, yeah, because there's 7 categories left, and it seems kind of crazy that we got this far without the Brutalist getting any. Because I think it's going to win 3 of the next 7, and so I think this is kind of one of those things that the fact that if it wins, I guess, this one and then 2 more coming up, all of a sudden, if it wins director as well and all of a sudden gets 4 of the last 7, that maybe that much momentum is maybe something that'll make me nervous challenging it for Best Picture. So we still might kind of have a showdown between the Brutalist. I mean, because I think Conclave, after losing editing, I don't think it has a shot for picture. So there is maybe a world where the Brutalist and Anora still is kind of that 1-2 battling it out for picture. But as of right now, I mean, the Brutalist, it needs to start getting a couple of these, but we'll check back in a couple categories and see where I'm feeling. We've got Best International Feature. This is one where I wanted so badly to switch to I'm Still Here. Everyone seems to have switched. I stuck with Emilia Perez just because I felt like everyone switching maybe was too much of like I don't know. I still thought that Emilia Perez has a good shot. I'm rooting for I'm Still Here. The way this ceremony has gone with all of these 50-50 categories going the opposite way, at this point I'm fully expecting I'm Still Here over Emilia Perez, but let's see.
the Oscar goes to
I'm Still Here did it. Oh my goodness. I'm Still Here. So that means we are for sure getting 8 of 10 Best Picture nominees are getting an Oscar. With I'm Still Here pulling this off, that is incredible. We said this all along that this was the spot where we were going to see if the controversy surrounding Emilia Perez, this was the category we were going to see if it came true. It did. I'm Still Here, an incredible win. I am now I'm not as confident about Demi Moore. Honora getting a big win made me a little more confident in Mikey Madison. This is a big win here for Fernanda Torres. Best Actress is going to be insane. It is like a three-way. It could be any of them. I have no idea. What a moment. This is incredible. So happy for everyone in Brazil. So happy for I'm Still Here getting this win. Just an inspired and just an excellent choice. And the next category is original score. This is where I I expect The Brutalist to continue. It got just got cinematography a couple categories ago. I expect it to continue here in score and moving forward to create kind of a big momentum swing here for this the Brutalist section of the night. So that's what I'm expecting here is The Brutalist. And the winner is The Brutalist. So there we go. So there, like we said, it's starting to come now. Here's the momentum for The Brutalist. I wonder if I'm not going to put it past the Oscars. Is this being the way that obviously they're trying to create drama and create tension? I feel like putting all of the Brutalist categories all here at the end. I think this is what it's doing. As we were so confident a couple hours ago that Honora was about to just have an easy run to Best Picture, and now it hasn't won anything in forever. And now we're going to have just this stretch here where you've got score and cinematography, and then eventually actor, possibly director, all kind of steamrolling all in a row here for The Brutalist. But again, this is a great score. Again, the score won it for the film in like within the first 5-10 minutes of the film. As soon as you get that shot of the Statue of Liberty upside down, as that score just kind of like sweeps in there. So this is a great pick. Happy for The Brutalist. And then next up is Best Actor. Of the final four categories, this is the one that I actually kind of feel the most confident in. Just like I said, I get the whole feel here of the Brutalist kind of sweeping in and getting a bunch of awards late. So I do feel pretty comfortable in Adrian Brody taking this. Although, again, like I said, Coleman Domingo would have been my pick. I do think that Timothy Chalamet, does still have a little bit of a chance here, but at the end of the day, I just think it's Adrian Brody, and this would be, in a night full of big shocks, this would be the biggest shock so far.
The Oscar goes to
Adrian Brody. Again, it was the pick that made sense, and I was still confident all the way up until Cillian Murphy opened his mouth, and suddenly I just felt a potential Timothy Chalamet upset. Like this has been in the last, I guess. So for me watching the Oscars, it really the Moonlight La La Land was the first year that I even like tuned on for a second, and I tuned on after that happened. The next year was the first year that I kind of like 20, so that would have been the 2018 movies, the 2019 Oscars was the next year that I kind of like actually watched the whole ceremony, even though I hadn't seen the majority of the movies. And then the 2020 ceremony for the 2019 films, that was the first year I got all the way in. And since then, this has been the year. There's been some years where I've gotten some pretty bad scores, but they weren't shocking things. They were just kind of like 50-50 things that just didn't go right. This Oscars has had some shocking things, and so this has just been a fun night. Really enjoying how this has been going so far. This is again just as even on the categories where I feel confident like this and Adrian Brody, I'm not confident the second the presenter starts opening their mouth. I'm expecting total chaos every single category, so I've been having a blast. All right, and it's Best Director. If Sean Baker wins here, it's a wrap. Honora's winning picture. If Brady Corbet pulls it off, which I'm starting to think he might, I think it's a total 50-50 toss-up for Best Picture when we get there. This is exciting. Let's see who the winner is.
and the Oscar goes to Honora.
Sean Baker. Okay. Okay, so it's a wrap. Honora is winning picture. Sean Baker is winning. He's winning 4 Oscars. This is another one of those where this now means, because I just should have mentioned it, the Brutalist with Brody's win. The Brutalist just jumped to the 3-win club. Now Honora has joined it. It feels like it's been over 2 hours. I feel like at this point since Honora last won an Oscar for editing, so it feels like a little while. But this is nice, kind of a momentum stop. This also makes me feel a little bit more confident. I don't. Actress is up next. I'm now like 40-30-30 probably Mikey Madison, and then Demi Moore and Fernanda Torres are kind of like tied 30%. Like, but it's still going to be so close. but again, just talking about Sean Baker here, this is super exciting. Three Oscars, and he's got a fourth one probably coming for producing Anora. So I have to look it up. I remember hearing people talk about it. I think is it Walt Disney? Is that who has the record for most Oscars in one night? Um, I think Sean Baker's about to tie it with four. And here we go, the big two: Best Actress. I'm slightly leaning Mikey. I predicted Demi, but with Brazil winning for I'm Still Here in International, I think Fernanda is fully in this race as well. This is as close as it gets between three different actresses. I predicted Demi. I'm leaning Mikey. Let's see what happens.
And the Oscar goes to Mikey Madison.
It is Mikey Madison. Okay, I mean, it's Anora. Anora obviously was winning Big Picture. Just got so nervous because Anora just did not have a great night at any precursor. I mean, it did at the guilds, but just at all of the televised shows, it just kept falling, and it was just one of those things that I I don't know. Like it's I just this is crazy. I was fully in on Mikey initially, switched to Demi. This is another one where I need to just stick with my gut. All my category breakdown videos, I think I got the majority of them all right essentially in those category breakdowns. It's the ones that I switched for the final Oscar predictions video are all the ones I'm getting wrong here. But yeah, it's crazy. Anora having its best night at the Oscars. It's about to win its fifth, 5 of 6 nominations. Yura Borisov was the only one that didn't win. Just a complete sweeper for Anora. It almost makes me wonder, like, if we just kind of redid voting, or if voting was a couple weeks later, like how many more nominations Nora could have even got. Like clearly it's a little bit of a late surge. This also is a key thing to remember. This is now BAFTA went 4 for 4 in the actors. SAG went 2 for 4. So I need to remember this. I tried comparing this to the Brendan Fraser year. I needed to look at this as this was Emma Stone versus Lily Gladstone last year. I should have went with the BAFTA winner, which was what I was leaning. This is exciting. I should have stuck with my gut. Should have stuck with Mikey Madison. I did switch over to Demi. But again, this is incredible. I didn't love Anora as much as everyone else, but as we're moving on to Best Picture, where it's going to win as well, this is still a special night for Anora for that film. And the final award, it is Best Picture time. It's going to be Anora. Let's watch the moment.
And the Oscar goes to. They playing a song?
And the Oscar, it is
Honora.
Anora. Crazy. Won 5 of 6. Again, for a film that really, I think what this is, the lesson I'm taking from this is it's from this season. It's the guilds and BAFTAs. Those are definitely the most important things, I think. And BAFTA maybe for the acting is a little bit more important than the SAGs are. But of course, as soon as I implement this lesson and go forward with it next year, it'll all flip. But it's also important to remember that the guilds, PGA, DGA, WGA, everything that all matters so much in terms of like Sean Baker not winning director, really any other televised show, kept losing to Brady Corbet, but getting the director win there at DGA helped here. PGA, the only other ballot, the only other place that does a preferential ballot the way that Anora, or that the way that the Oscars do here, that clearly benefited Anora. So this is just crazy to think that Anora had this run where it was just getting 1, maybe 2 at every televised, like at BAFTA it got actress, it got Mikey, and it got casting, right? Critics' Choice, all it got was picture, and then it got nothing at SAG and nothing at Golden Globe. And for it to come in and win 5 Oscars, incredible. Just a crazy story. I don't know if there's any sort of like comparison that I have for this. This is just such a crazy just swing. The way it took off, right? Just for the Oscars and nowhere else is just a remarkable story. Again, it's not my favorite of the Best Picture nominees. I like Anora. I don't love it, but this is just Oscar night is just a fun night to be able to celebrate these films, and tonight to celebrate Anora. what a night! Another fun Oscars. Just kind of a quick, I guess, little recap of everything that happened. Honora led the way with 5 wins: original screenplay, editing, director, actress, picture. The Brutalist got 3: cinematography, score, and actor. 2 for Dune Part 2, which got sound and visual effects. Amelia Perez got supporting actress and original song, and then 2 for Wicked, which got costume and production design. And then real everything else won. So Real Pain got supporting actor, Flow animated, In the Shadow of the Cypress animated short, Conclave adapted screenplay, The Substance makeup and hairstyling, Only Girl in the Orchestra documentary short, No Other Land documentary, I'm Not a Robot live action short, and I'm Still Here international. So I mean, what is that? 14 different films winning an Oscar. I believe my quick count was 8 of the 10 Best Pictures nominees won an Oscar. It was just A Complete Unknown and Nickel Boys were the only 2 that didn't win anything. So just I mean just a fun night overall. Nice seeing the wealth kind of get spread around a little bit. Other than I guess all the big ones definitely all went to Honora. Um, my final predictions, I'm sure you're all just dying to know. I did horribly, like I had the thought that I might. I was 16 for 23. I think that's kind of like my about as bad as I do a lot of years. If I have a down year, I'm always in that like 16 to 20 range on my predictions, and so I missed 7 predictions. I missed actress because I went with Demi Moore. I missed international, missed animated, documentary, editing, animated short, and live action short. I don't necessarily care about the animated short and live action short. They're just, toss ups. Editing and animated were, especially editing, but those are the 2 that I felt most confident in out of those that I missed. So those were kind of big upsets, big shocks. The other 3, documentary, international, and actress, I just was not confident at all. And in all of those, I went with Demi Moore and actress, so I went with the frontrunner in one. For international, I went with Amelia Perez, which turned out to be the underdog because everyone had switched to I'm Still Here, and I should have switched with everyone, but I didn't. And then documentary, everyone kind of stayed with No Other Land the entire time, but I tried kind of predicting the upset and ended up getting it wrong. So that's how I ended up doing. Again, I'm totally cool with my numbers being bad. Like, I don't care about getting things right. I'm not that type of YouTuber. I'm more so I would rather go over 23 if it means it's a fun night, and that's what this was a fun night. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. One last thing that I want to say before I wrap up here is just a big thank you to everyone who has been following along, has been watching on the channel, has been subscribing. I really appreciate it. This is my 2nd year doing this on the Oscars. I technically have had my channel for a couple of years now, but last year was the first year that I really got into making sure I was actually posting, and I did my category breakdown videos last year, and I didn't get a whole lot of traction. Obviously, is a real small channel and wasn't really kind of posting, wasn't really telling a whole lot of people about my channel, and so a couple comments and some likes here and there kind of came along, but for the most part, nothing really happened last year. And so this year, I kind of went into it and was kind of expecting a lot of the same, but that was not the case. That you guys really showed out and have been supporting me, and I really appreciate it. Obviously still a really small channel, but I'm not going to pretend like I haven't just jumped and doubled my subscriber count within the last couple months, and that's a big thank you to everyone who has found the channel. I really mean it. It's been a lot of fun interacting with a lot of people. I've gotten so many comments and likes on all these videos, and it's been a lot of fun sharing this with you, so thank you. Also, big thank you. I would be remiss if I don't give a big thank you to the country of Brazil. You've been, you can tell all of the videos on my channel that have the most views. You can tell there's some I'm Still Here or Fernanda Torres angle with the video. So I would be remiss if I didn't thank you specifically, but just thank you to everyone else who has found the channel, has been subscribing, has been, watching along as I post all these videos. Again, just bottom of my heart, thank you. If you would like to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, because this isn't the end of my channel, I don't just go dark after the Oscars. There's so many other things that I'm doing. I have so many other series and things that I want to do that I'm excited to get going on. So if you want to subscribe so you don't miss any of those, I would greatly appreciate it, and have a great day.